The words of Tinubu to the northern oligarchs are very clear, unless, of course, you are not paying attention. A statement that I will not hand over to a northerner by 2027, but another southerner, or I win that election, is sacrosanct, will only be understood by deep thinkers and deep analysts. What we are having is the North are doing everything to break that gentleman agreement, okay, that respect that we have for the dichotomy, because Nigeria, as it were, is a multicultural and a multi-ethnic nation. It is clear that the North want to do everything to oust Tinubu, and their agenda is not to support Atiku, because on social media right now, what we are seeing is the Fulani influencers are now taking this matter to Elon Musk's algorithm and AI, asking this algorithm that, well, as Nigeria is concerned since 1999, is it justiciable to say that Atiku cannot be the president by 2027? And you know what? The Grok AI said Atiku is the right person. You can see the schemes. Now, these are people who are not trying to use, sophisticated softwares and, of course, analyzers to try and push a narrative that if Atiku wants to run by 2027, there's absolutely nothing stopping him, because it is expected that an highly intelligent software has said that the South have had more of the share since 1999 than the North. So there has been this constant debate, all right? And I've seen that in that question, in that query, the comments that have been coming surprisingly from the Southeasterners are, if Atiku will not step down for Obi, okay, then Tinubu should continue. And this is a very, very dangerous pathway for me as a Nigerian, because I am not comfortable. In fact, Tinubu economy has not been friendly to me, to myself and my family, because I am not into fraud, and neither am I a politician. I'm just a political analyst, and then I have some petty business. Yes, while I agree that Tinubu must go, okay, but I cannot begin to see the confusion in the coalition body that the North, instead of them to just be humble and lay low, are insisting that Atiku will run. I think this is just an affront and a disrespect of the South as a people. And we keep finding ourselves in that dilemma. And this is why I keep repeating that Tinubu seems to be the luckiest man alive. The Nigerian president has never been this too easy, where the opposition parties are totally in state of confusion. In fact, when Buhari was the president, the opposition were still very well coordinated. They were still, they were still biting. To some extent, they were biting. But in this Tinubu's regime, nothing. All the oppositions are dead. Everybody. So it's a sad story for the Southeasterners, because the Southeasterners have had a very large part of the contribution to PDP. But unfortunately today, PDP has been disrupted, and PDP as it stands is right in the bucket list of Tinubu and Wike. We know that Wike is dancing to the commands of Tinubu, and as it stands, Wike is the one in charge of PDP. So by any means, whatever platform the Igbos should have used to ascend the throne of presidency has actually been ambushed. And this is why when I look at Tinubu, when it tells the North that by 2027, I will not hand over to a Northerner, because handing over to a Northerner simply means breaking this nation. Handing over to a Northerner by 2027 is simply you, the North, telling me as a Southwesterner that I do not have the right to run for 8 years. Me, as a Southerner, as a collective, should bow to the pressure and the hegemony of the Northern Fulani politicians. He has simply said it in simple terms, but hidden, that if at all he wants to get defeated and he will willingly hand over, it has to be his own fellow Southerner. But this same guy has ambushed this Twitter OB of a guy who seems to be the most prominent politician coming from the Southeast. If Jonathan was running, I am telling you, there's absolutely nothing on earth, because in fact the North will abandon Atiku. Yes, they will abandon Atiku because everybody has that hindsight experience that Jonathan was wonderful. In fact, so many Yorubas who are saying that it is a Yoruba Locon will readily go and support Jonathan. Yes, but you see, most of these places that Tinubu sees that this is where these people can use to attack me from the south, he has blocked them. There is a rumor that he has outrightly bought patience. There's a rumor now that this one is not even a rumor about the PDP. We know that the PDP is dead and gone. What you see moving is just a skeleton. There's no flesh, there's no soul, there's no body. That's PDP. PDP is a carcass and a shadow of itself. The ADC that Obi wants to run on, their agenda, there are people Tinubu allegedly is supporting and sponsoring from the north who are encouraging Atiku, don't step down. Don't step down. Don't step down. And then there's this other guy who is in Kogi, this one guy who is Dare, is a House of Rep in ADC. He has also said that he will file a case against the current ADC leadership for forceful takeover of his party. So you can see that this man no dey rest. He will not rest for as long as Jonathan does not come out. For as long as Atiku, the greedy man, the man that who knows, maybe they buried his intestine in Aso Villa. Who knows? Nobody knows. Nobody understands, because there's absolutely nothing stopping Atiku. Wait between now to 2031. By 2031, it will be the turn of Atiku. Let's say Atiku is 84. Let's say Atiku is 85. Go there. Abi, at least if he becomes president by 2031 and he completes one term, I mean, it's for his own good if God spares his life. So I don't want to wish anybody's dead. I mean, at the age of 84, if he's still mentally strong, if he's going to be there by maybe 2 years, 3 years, and maybe something unfortunate happens, they will write his name in the book of fame or in the hall of fame or in the list of presidents that we've had. But come 2027, Nigeria will break if they don't think they will grab that power from a greedy man like Tinubu. This is a man who has held Lagos, the most powerful state in Nigeria, for nothing less than 25 years, allegedly. And we know that if any party, anybody wants to grab Lagos from Tinubu's cabalization and tokenization government, it is nothing but war. You think you want to collect Lagos from Tinubu, APC rascals, the thugs, because the thugs are their mercenaries? So you think it's going to be an easy ride? It's going to be a war, a tug of war. So this is what Tinubu is ready to do to the north by 2027. You guys think you want to come and grab this power from me? You're not even pushing the southerner. You're coming by your own. No, I'm not a bastard. And this is why you see that in the recent days, Bayo Onanuga, Reno Omokri, Daniel Bwala, these are all Tinubu's media aides. The only song they have been singing is, "It is still the turn of the South. The North should go and take a patience pill." What does that tell you? Simply means Tinubu is not ready to hand over by 2027. You have to just have that in-depth eyes to understand his move. But the only thing I'm angry about is if Tinubu is shouting the turn of the South, all right, and the Southeast to a large extent are not marginalized, because to be fair, the Southeasterners are marginalized. You can see it on my screen over there. These are new list of directors in I think in CBN. I think out of 15, around 9 or so are from the Yoruba extraction. If Tinubu had it balanced between the Yorubas, the Igbos, and the Ijos, or let's say the Igbos, Ijos are sharing about 70. You give Igbos 3, you give Ijos 2, and then you give Yoruba maybe 5. That would be understandable. But it's not. So this idea that it is a turn of the South, and you expect the Igbos to join you in solidarity to defend that man, no, it's going to be hard. And this is the best time for Atiku to actually understand this. But apparently, Atiku does not have what we call political understanding. I think Atiku is one of the guy who has I think is political blind. I think Atiku is political blind. And here's why I've said it in the past that there are two things that could possibly be happening between Tinubu and Atiku. One, it could be that Atiku is working for Tinubu, and wherein Atiku has been charged to go and distract Peter Obi, or Atiku is just politically naive. But I don't want to believe. I don't want to believe Atiku is politically naive. Because there's a picture that I've been seeing where Atiku, Tinubu, and Buhari, they all 3 of them sat down. The only person who has not had a stone, and that picture was taken during the formation of APC in 2013-14. The only person who has not had a stone is simply Atiku. And we know that the first man that went was Buhari. Then, Tinubu, could it be that this agenda that it is not to be that battles me, and Atiku does not want to step down, because if Atiku steps down, he knows that it is sure. I mean, everything just looks messy, looks dicey, looks, you know, when you look at the graph of Nigerian politics, especially around Tinubu, there's this pattern of deception, of diversion. You will see people who will be like oppositions, but these are all what we call made up oppositions. These are like artificial oppositions. And because these are people who were actually financed and created by the camps of Tinubu. So could it be that Atiku is actually working against the presidency of the Igbos? I don't know. And meanwhile, Tinubu is still shouting, it is the turn of the South. So the Igbos now are currently in the state of dilemma, which makes them so confused, and I'm vulnerable. For me, if Tinubu sincerely wants the South to be united, he has the capacity to do it, allocate, give them more, but no. And Atiku is there. So everybody seems to be against the Southeasterners. For me, it's crazy, and it's just a sad thing to see. However, let's listen to what some of my brothers from the Southeast have to say about this government, that this turn of the South that they are saying, clamoring. What exactly is their benefit and their gain before they align and realign with Tinubu, or they stick with Peter Obi? Let's listen to them for just about 3 minutes.
Okay, so there's a deliberate attempt currently in recent times, to make the Southeast appear too politically conservative, a people that always look out for only their own. And what they usually point out to is, the 2023 presidential election, that Peter Obi won to a certain degree, majorly in the Southeast, you know. But what they don't look at is the voting trend of this Southeast since 1999. See, I always tell people this. You need to go and look at the political history of the Igbos. You will understand that Igbos have historically championed national unity from their voting pattern and their type of politics. I'm not going to start talking about, the things that happened in the 60s, the alliance of the NCNC and the MPC, or, when Ekweme went against his own brother, which was, Nnamdi Azikiwe, and then decided to align with Shagari then and run as his deputy. All these things were done in the spirit of national interest. In fact, if you look at that election, you find out that in the 1979 election, the Eastern, let me just say the Eastern region, there are no Eastern region there. I think it was called the East Central, whatever. Please remind me, Ogi Grube, even gave more of their votes you know, to non-Igbos than they did to the Igbos. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think Azikiwe came third or something in that election. Shagari first, I think Awolowo came second and everything. Now, from 1999, if you look at the percentage of votes that has been dumped by the Southeast, being that the Southeast is a region that is known to vote in blocks, right? It is not a swing region. They have consistently voted for any party they believe is the national party. If you look at Obasanjo's, percentage win in 1999 in the Southeast, I think it was 79%. In 2003, it was something around that 70 something percent as well, but that is he majorly won the Southeast. In 2007, Yaradua even exceeded Obasanjo, you understand, in getting 80 something percent of the total votes of the Southeast. I will leave that aside because that discussion is still in contention. That election is still in contention. And then if we jump to 2011, Goodluck Jonathan even went ahead of Yaradua and got 90 something percent. Now, in 2015, they still gave the same Goodluck Jonathan 80 something percent of their votes. In 2019, they gave Atiku 70 something percent of their votes. You will notice a pattern, right? In all of these elections we are speaking about, there was neither a Southeastern president nor a Southeastern vice president. In 1999, the president and the vice president were, Obasanjo and Atiku. The same thing in 2003. In 2007, it was, Yaradua and Goodluck Jonathan. There were no Southeastern candidates amongst them. In 2011, it was Sambo and Jonathan. There was no Southeastern candidates there. In 2015, it was Sambo and Jonathan, no Southeastern candidate. The first time that a Southeastern candidate appeared on the ballot was in 2019 with Atiku, Obi and Atiku, right? And then in 2023, Nigerians want to rewrite the story and the history of this country. How does a region that had consistently voted a national party, regardless of, because the funny part is that we need to start telling ourselves the truth. While the Southeast was voting a national party like the PDP, the rest of the country, we are busy playing regional politics, creating regional parties, making regional alignments, playing game of regional interest. But we stayed at the center. Maybe that is the reason why today they come to insult the Southeasterners and tell us that we do not know how to play politics, because we refuse to play regional politics. We refuse to play politics of regional interest. And today we are mocked for sticking with a party we thought was a national party. Anyway, away from that, let me get back to the point I was trying to make. In 2023, the Southeasterners voted en masse for Peter Obi for the first time. A Southeasterner was on ballot. Even this Peter Obi's vote margin in 2023 is 83%, much lower than the margin that Jonathan got in 2011 and 2015. Jonathan got 90 something percent in 2011 and got about 80 something percent in 2015. So why is it that today, when the Southeasterners want to speak, people come here to come and tell them, oh, look at you, you voted for Obi 100%. You are coming up here to talk about it. No, we have never played regional politics. So I am not going to shy away from saying that it is actually the turn of the Southeast. Me, I'm not coming up here to come and tell you it is the turn of the South. It is not the turn of the South. It is the turn of the Southeast. Yes, I am not naive enough to believe that alliances are not needed, bridges are not needed to be built, right? But any alliance or bridge that is going to be built should be built around the Southeast. We have paid our dues on Gilgube. In this country, starting from way back, we have paid our dues. And I think it is actually high time people stopped, looking down on us, making us feel as if we don't belong in this country. We have paid our dues. How can we continuously vote any other person in this country but ourselves? And the funny part is that in all these elections that we are talking about, there were also Southeasterners who were on ballots. They were not voted by Southeasterners. Rather, we stuck with what we felt was the national party that was supposed to unite this country. And for that, we are being mocked today and being insulted. So I am saying that it is actually a turn of the Southeast. Honestly, I'm not gonna shy away from saying this. Because I don't know for how many more years this yearning will continue. A lot of the things that are happening today in the Southeast, a lot of the anger, a lot of it is coming from the fact that all this nonsense that people like the IPOB came to sell the Southeasterners, this story of, oh, we are not loved and everything, let us leave. It is something that's legitimizing it is because we have consistently been sidelined when it comes to, why is it that we do everything for any other person, but nobody is willing to do anything for the Southeast. Nobody wants to replicate the same favor for the Southeast. You will hear people from other regions. I was listening to a space yesterday. Sorry that I have to bring it up in this room. And somebody was saying, I am going to vote Yoruba only when if Yoruba is on the ballot, I am voting Yoruba. I don't care if any other person is there. People say these things. No repercussion, no